Alright, we're back with a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks here on Tuesday evening, the 16th of February, 2021. Well, if you have been following me on social media over the last couple of days, of course, there's been tons and tons of weather-related posts, but I've put up a couple of long screeds, if you will, especially on Facebook. Some of my thoughts on what happened with this storm and why, of course, weather forecasts should generally be trusted, even though occasionally something goes awry with trying to predict the future, and certainly that was the case with this system. So check that out if you would on my social media platforms. Again, it's all in one place on my Facebook page. Whenever I put these long kind of thought bubbles, if you will, on social media, I'm not fishing for compliments or anything like that, but I've gotten a lot of very nice compliments, and a lot of people are very, very supportive and very nice. And for every troll out there, and believe me, there's plenty, there's 50 more people who are exceptionally supportive and nice and understanding when it comes to our profession and the pride we take in our profession and that sort of thing. So thank you for all that, and thank you for checking out these daily in-depth videos. We didn't do one last evening because we did live coverage on Facebook and Twitter. Let's quickly review what we were dealing with this storm in the lead-up to it. I'm going to show you a couple of model runs here. Now, this is just one example, really, just one model, but here was the NAM model run Saturday evening. So Saturday's NAM for the storm that was getting set to impact us Sunday night and into Monday and Monday night. Taken literally, it suggested, yeah, pretty decent snow rates in the morning. Looked like the mixing line on that run of the NAM would get up to like, the Panhandle, West Virginia, maybe up towards East Liverpool at the northernmost. But look at all this snow back here. That was Saturday evening's NAM. You head forward then 24 hours to Sunday evening's NAM, and definitely there was a northward trend. A lot of the modeling on Sunday, but this is how far north it had the mixing getting with our storm with Sunday evening's run. Now, this was certainly an improvement over Saturday's run, which again looked more like this valid Monday evening. So this was better than this. And then you looked at Monday morning's run. So now the storm is basically going on. Did this model have a decent handle on the extent of the mixed precipitation and whatnot? Well, again, it was better than Saturday evening's run, which looked like this, but it wasn't good enough. The sleet got all the way back to I-71. Snow amounts were way overdone all the way back to Cleveland, Mansfield, down to Columbus as well. So while the model and other models certainly did improve, it didn't improve quite enough. This was the snow output on Saturday evening's NAM. Here was the run Sunday evening, so notice quite a bit less for us. And then Monday morning's run. Still, again, better than a couple of runs ago, but this still had 7, 8, 9 inches worth of snow, Interstate 80 and north. That was way too much. So the models improved. NAM case in point, but not good enough. Here's what actually happened. The bullseye with the snow was, of course, out in northwest Ohio, out towards Toledo, Lima, Fort Wayne, Indiana, up towards Detroit. They did really well. As late as the start of the weekend, it looked like Detroit was going to get a small amount of snow, and northwest Ohio wouldn't get all that much. It was going to be more over here. So our loss was their gain in terms of snowfall with this particular system. All right, let's move on and talk about what's going to happen as we go into the future. And before we do that, I wanted to briefly talk about some of the meteorology. I just showed you some modeling, but why did this happen when it comes to the meteorology? And basically, it all boils down to the track of low pressure. Instead of the low tracking over here like this, the low, especially the upper level low pressure system, was a little bit farther to the west. So all of this above freezing air and all this air without all the contours here that don't have black lines, that's above freezing air at 5,000 feet. And when you get that coming in, that's going to shut off snow and give you a bunch of ice. And boy, was it treacherous on the roads last night. So again, another look at the snowfall totals across the region. This was a snow bonanza in Indianapolis and Toledo and Detroit. We didn't have a snow bonanza 6 years ago, but we were in the middle of a very harsh February in 2015, and so 13 below zero, establishing a new record low on that date. Very treacherous on the roads last night and this morning. Roads, especially the major roads, Did improve quite a bit today, even though we had some flurries around, but anything left untreated, such as our parking lot here at work, is pretty much just still a skating rink, and that's not going to change much with no thaw coming our way until later in the weekend. We've had some fairly innocuous flurries this afternoon. There's actually been some pretty substantial lake effect over the last couple of hours. Up here east of Cleveland especially, I'm going to put a loop on this, and these bands are impacting some of the eastern suburbs of Cleveland. And just a few minutes ago, before I started recording this, the Weather Service did actually hoist a short-term winter weather advisory for Cleveland on east towards Erie County. So out of our television viewing area, but especially northern Trumbull County, you might still get a decent couple of snow bands before the evening is through. Otherwise, our flurry machine will gradually shut off as we head into the overnight, and the sky will try to partially clear. Remarkable cold in the middle of the country. It got down to 2 below in Dallas, Texas this morning, the second coldest morning on record, and the power grid in Texas is being strained enormously with this kind of cold around. They're having big problems down there, and another winter storm warning out for almost the entire state of Oklahoma, all of eastern Texas, and the entire state of Arkansas, the same system that will impact us. Now, it's not going to be real windy overnight tonight, but with temperatures diving into the single digits, wind chills will be similar to the air temperature and maybe a couple of degrees colder than the air temperature as tomorrow gets underway. Breaking the action tomorrow, although clouds will increase in the afternoon. Here's our next weather maker. I think snow is going to try to get going by about daybreak on Thursday. Now, it's going to be fairly light at times, I think, on Thursday, but the snow will be here at varying intensities into Thursday night. Now, once again, it'll come down to an exact storm track, and there might be some mixed precipitation shenanigans trying to get involved somewhere. Right now, the modeling all has it south and east. It all had it south and east as recently as Saturday evening for the last storm, so stay tuned on that. If this stays all snow, though, it'll certainly be enough to be impactful and shovel and plow. And here's a look at our model spread. Now, the European model today came in with a flatter wave and a farther east solution, so it is down here towards the bottom. Our model consensus right now is closer to 3.5, 4 inches or so as things stand right now. And so our forecast really hasn't changed since the initial forecast we put out last evening. We think the most likely accumulation is somewhere between 3 and 6. Somewhat higher odds of an underachiever rather than an overachiever at this point, but the highest odds are in that 3 to 6 range as of this recording. All right, we're going to get above freezing as early as Sunday, and while next week, it's not going to be in the 60s and 70s, I do think we have some 40 to 45 degree days in our future as we go into the medium range, enough to start to thaw things out. And, we're going to be getting into late February. The sun is strengthening rapidly at this time of the year. Am I going to say that winter's over once we get through the next few days? No. With the exception of last year, it always snows here in March. Last year was a big exception. So, we're not done with winter weather once this pattern starts to thaw and get a little milder, but I think we're going to get out of winter's tightest grip by the end of the upcoming weekend. But we've got one more winter storm to get through in the short term, so we're going to have more updates on that. Social media, 21 News at 6 and 11, the Storm Tracker 21 app, and WFMJ.com/weather. Thanks for checking out tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you back here on Wednesday.